What's up, guys, and welcome to our House of the Dragon episode 1 predictions. My name is Marcos, and I am here with the other host, Jacob.
What's up, guys?
And David is sadly with us in spirit and
He
in
is.
words. So he has sent us his predictions. He will be joining us on future prediction videos. But yeah, we wanted to go ahead and talk about what we think is going to happen this upcoming episode, the premiere. We're only a few days away now. How many days? Like five days about.
Yeah, five sleeps.
Yeah. So now is the time to get hyped about it. So we're going
Yes,
to go ahead and
sir.
start with one of David's predictions, and then we'll
Uh,
go from there.
not to disrupt your flow, Marcos, but this is going to be a weekly thing, right?
Yeah. So we're planning, for those of you guys who are interested in House of Dragon content, we're planning on doing a weekly prediction on what is going to happen in the upcoming episodes. And then following each episode every week, we are going to be reviewing and talking about the episode.
Olive, a live discussion. If you guys are listening and you want to join, I'm pretty sure if you're here, you're pretty interested. So please, we would love to have you. I mean, it's fun talking about shows. But moving on. So David's first prediction is actually a good one. And I don't know if he did this like a pun intended, but it says first prediction, someone is gonna get got. And I don't know if
Very witty.
that like because so when I say got, that means like dead, right? Like everybody you
Yeah.
get got. But like it's all caps GOT. So I don't know if he's saying like Game of Thrones got, but he hasn't gotten to any points that are like
I
that
don't
yet.
even
So I
think
don't
he
know.
understands what he said.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think about that, Marcos?
No,
Think that's
yeah,
gonna happen?
for sure. I definitely think somebody's gonna get got in the first episode. Uh,
Really?
yeah, well, kind of leads into one of the predictions I have, which is that they're gonna bring it this first episode. I think the first episode of Game of Thrones brings it, like that shock value. The first season ends with the big, like, they bring it, they set the expectations of what this world is. And I think that they're going to do the same thing in this episode. I think they know Game of Thrones is shocking. Game of Thrones has impact. So they got to show that they're at that level also with this one.
I'm a little apprehensive about them trying to be shocking because I think the later seasons, that's all they cared about was like the twists and turns
Mm-hmm.
rather than like the buildup, which I think was really excellent also in the older or the first seasons. So I hope they don't just try to shock. I hope they like Game of Thrones. It introduces you to that world, but it's not like there's not any twists or turns like there is later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the biggest twists and turns like take a season, at least sometimes three, to really have that value of being there. But I
Nah,
mean,
dude, they got
I
to
guess
bring it though. I
I
think they know that whether you agree or not, that the last seasons of Game of Thrones were not received very well. So I think they know that with this episode, they got to get people talking. Like they got to make this episode to where those people that are watching it are going to tell the other people, dude, it was good. Like you got to check it out. It is at that level of story that the rest of Game of Thrones was.
okay, I was gonna save this one for later, but since I feel like we're on the same page, different paragraph, is I think they're gonna reintroduce us to what this world is, what Westeros is like. So you think they're gonna kill somebody, but I think we are definitely gonna see someone get absolutely railed by a family member to remind us that we are back where
That's
we are
pretty
back
likely.
in a place where brother and sister play hide the pickle. I totally ruined that, but yeah, dude, I think that's what we're gonna get. You're gonna get cousin, uncle, sister, brother stuff that is just like like you want to turn away, but like that's what Westeros is, man. That's how it goes. So I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
could
how they're
see. I
gonna
think
bring us
that's
back.
likely.
Yeah, I've actually seen a comment that like it's still got those sex scenes, man. So not that I mean I'm about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's part of Game of Thrones. It's part of the universe. I'm chilling. All right, Marcos. I guess you said your first one, right?
Kinda. Just my first prediction is that just I think that there's gonna be some aspect of time involved with this episode. So, like me and you, we've broken down the trailers and we've noticed that it seems like there is a younger and an older version of a character. So, because of that, and what we've seen in the trailer, where it seems like the younger character is going to have some sort of conflict with, I think, the Hightower girl, I think the first episode is going to be that conflict, kind of things building up to that moment, what happens in that moment, and then fast forwarding to the future of where things are because of that. So,
And then and then you think that the rest of the show is gonna be in the future?
well, that's the thing. I don't know because, well, I can see them doing that. At the same time, I feel like the story needs time to develop for that moment to have weight and meaning. So that's how come I know you. I don't know if this is one of your predictions, but I know you had one involving time also, right?
Yeah, so if we wanna go through that one because they're pretty similar. My prediction, it's also a prediction for the season, I guess, but we're gonna see a good amount of both timelines in episode one. Because I think what they're gonna do is you're seeing both timelines throughout the whole show,
Mm-hmm.
and like they both are like building up and then they climax at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
And then you see like it all makes sense in episode eight, and then we kind of see like the conclusion of the season.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be like half is one timeline or just one like a couple episodes is one timeline and then we jump. I think it's gonna be running at the same time. I think it's also important to point out we are talking about this and we're into this, but at least as far as much as we can, we've tried to stay like hidden about a lot of the stuff, like anything plot wise. We've stayed away from the book spoilers, everything like that. I know Marcos got spoiled on accident because he's reading A Song of Ice and Fire, but so I
Yeah.
mean, if our predictions are way off, like please don't tell us like, oh well, on chapter five of Fire and Blood it says this.
I will say
Yeah,
though, if you're a person that like this next week, you want to really get into that world and kind of not just Google what happens, but you want to like go and dig through the ancient texts and find like the legend of what happened. A Song of Ice and Fire has a ton of references to this time. If I didn't know that this show was coming out, it probably would have just been extra lore that came up. But considering I know that it's coming, reading through those books is like, what the heck, dude? Like every couple chapters, they reference a character from this time or an event from this time. So it's like, it's very prominent that this era affected the Game of Thrones era. So I'm excited to see that play out because 200 years later, people are still talking about how impactful it was. So
amen, brother. I've lost the references to this in A Song of Ice and Fire. I read them like 6 years ago, so I mean, I remember the Game of Thrones plot, but not so much the side stuff
let
or
me.
the
I have a
references.
comment really quick. So I think regarding the time aspect, I think they gotta do it well. Because like you, Jacob's a huge fan of a show on Netflix called Dark. If any of you guys have seen it, it's one of his favorite shows of all time, and I know that it involves time very
The
prominently.
favorite, the
And
favorite show.
and the way that they use time is in favor of the narrative also, I believe, like because of the way that they break up the timelines, it makes the story more impactful, like when
Yeah,
things
and
are revealed.
I think it's tough to compare it to Dark because Dark, like part of the problem of the show is time. Like there's time travel in Dark. This isn't gonna have that. I
Yeah.
was actually gonna do a joke prediction about that they find a cave and go into it and get transported. I think I sent that to you guys, didn't I? Something like that.
I don't remember.
Uh, but yeah, they can't do that, but they can't take notes from it if they've seen it with different timelines. Because I mean, technically, I guess Dark is all the same timeline happening all at once. But I mean, yeah, they do it better than anybody else. I think it's a little different, but yeah, I think they can take some notes from it.
Yeah.
Okay, before I move on to David's second prediction, any chance anybody is in the Twitch stream at all?
As of right now, we have the Scoop Troop FM joining us, and that's about it.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's all right. It's chilling. All
It's
right.
chilling.
So David's second prediction. Again, this might be more for like a season long type thing. It's gonna have a fire soundtrack, and I 100% agree. David's never seen Game of Thrones and stuff like that, so you know he's doing what he can with these predictions. But I don't see that being wrong. I have showed him a little bit of clips from Game of Thrones with soundtracks bumping, so maybe he pulled it from there.
Yeah.
But I mean, they brought back Ramin Djawadi, and I mean, in our other video, we talk about how important that is.
I think one of the things I'm most hyped to hear is that opening title song because they've kept it under wraps. Even at the premiere of the show, they did not show the opening sequence. So I feel like they're trying to save it, which is I think cool. I think that's exciting. I sent you a meme about it the other day that I fell for
Yeah,
hard, dude. I was there and I was like, oh my gosh, they dropped the song. And I got Dan. I was like, Dan, let's listen to this. Like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be good. And it starts, and I'm there, and I'm just like, yeah, man, this is going somewhere. And then it breaks into like the ding 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 ding, ding, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude, it got me hard,
and they
man.
got
It
you.
got
That's
me
pretty
so
bad.
good.
I was suspicious about it. I saw it on Twitter, but I didn't click on it because I don't want to hear it until it's in the show, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I was like, that's really weird. I've never heard of HBO doing that. I know Disney Plus does that.
Hmm.
They'll drop their soundtracks kind of like beforehand.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like sus to me, but I just didn't click on it because like I don't want it to be spoiled.
I hope it's a
That's
banger
pretty
soundtrack though.
hilarious.
Something I hope that they do is that they really differentiate the music. Like it has that flavor from Game of Thrones, but also it's like this is its own soundtrack though. That kind of
Well,
encompasses the tone of that era. So,
I think it'll be a lot of the soundtracks are gonna sound similar to Daenerys
mhm.
themes. I mean, you could even hear in the trailer, it almost sounds exactly like her theme.
Yeah, it's similar.
So I think there's gonna be a lot of plays on that, like variations.
Hmm.
And honestly, like we say in that video, I know that was kind of my opinion, but the Danny themes that are in the thing, like and the moments that they're in Game of Thrones are just it's amazing. When you hear like that, that's just sick, dude. You know, if you're hearing that part in Game of Thrones, you know it's a good moment.
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Do you want to give me your second prediction when I go to mine,
Yeah.
or I
So
guess
another
whatever prediction
prediction
you have
I
left?
have is that I believe when the show starts, it's starting during the rule of King Viserys. I believe that's his name. He's kind of the dude that we saw sitting on the Iron Throne in the trailers when he's like, "I won't choose an heir." Like that whole section. I think they're gonna establish that even though Homeboy's on that throne, he does not rule. Like there's a lot of people that are just manipulating him to get done what they want. Compared to like other kings, like the Mad King, that were very like I take orders from nobody, or even Tywin. Like Tywin was kind of a person that like he was in control of himself. I think King Viserys is going to be not very in control, but I could be wrong. I mean, they do talk a lot about how ruthless the Targaryens are, but I think he is going to be different. I think he's actually going to be a little more compassionate of a person than the rest of his family, and I think that's
That's
going
a
to be his
pretty
downfall. So
That's a pretty in-depth prediction. I have like no idea on what this guy's gonna be like. I'm
he just
curious
seems
as
like a
to
nice
why.
dude.
I'm just curious why he's so concerned with picking a successor. Like
Hmm.
why? Why is this being brought up now? Is he dying? Is he sick? You know, I have no idea. So that is interesting to me. I don't know. I
Yeah,
wouldn't say I
that's
agree with
true.
you
Why
just
is he
because of
looking for a
like what we.
successor?
Yeah, and I think I don't know if it was in a video or I think it was in our trailer breakdown. I was like, why Rhaenyra? Like why do we want her? What's so big about her? And he talks about it in the trailer about like having a dream. So I'm like, is this like, we get visions in Game of Thrones, so is it a vision that's going on? Did someone tell him something? I'm really curious to see why.
That
That's
might
my
be a
biggest
big
question I
part
have right
of
now.
episode 1. Because I feel if they're going to throw out that this plot line is choosing his successor, we got to get to know the successors. Like why Rhaenyra, why Daemon, or why not either one of them. So I think that might
Hmm.
be a big part of episode 1 is, or maybe the focus would be on like Rhaenyra for episode 1 and Daemon for episode 2. But because we do get that moment in the trailers where Damon is like entering the throne room, and the throne room looks full, almost like it's a ceremony. And he walks up to the front, and like almost like he's gonna claim his throne, and the guards like stop him. I don't know. So I think
I
we're gonna
think
see what's happening with the successor in the first episode. So
I told you. I think that's
misdirection.
like Yeah, I think so. I think I don't think him and Rainier are gonna be enemies. At least that's what I feel.
Hmm.
I think the trailer really sets it up hard for it to look that way, but I just don't buy it. Um, how many more predictions do you have, by the way?
Now I'm just kind of just throwing some stuff
Okay.
out.
All right. I'll go. I'll give David's last one, then I'll give my last one. All right. So David's final prediction. This one, buckle up because it's gonna be a bumpy ride here. Crazy. You wouldn't expect him to say this. He says it's possibly gonna have great cinematography. Possibly. Not that he thinks it.
That's a
He said
bold prediction.
he's predicting that it might have. I don't know how that works, but that cracked me up when I saw it. Um, I think that's another easy yes. I think, dude, I was rewatching because Game of Thrones got the 4K update, which sucks because I don't have the 4K Blu-ray, so now I feel bad. But so I was watching them on HBO, and it was the episode where Danny arrives to Dragonstone, and I was just like, "Whoa!" Like I
Looks
was
good.
like in awe of how amazing it looked.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just because of the 4K, but there were shots that I was just like, this is better than most movies that come out today, and it's a TV show. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna knock it out of the park again. And that was season 7 of Game of Thrones, so that wasn't even like their highest budget. And this has more budget than their highest budget. It's gonna be like astounding. I think
Totally, dude.
you should rewatch that, dude. Rewatch those new ones that like once they've gone to 4K. It is insane. Like Battle of the
Yeah.
Bastards, I watched that one, and it's a whole new show, man. It's insane.
No, I totally think it's going without saying that the cinematography is going to be A plus. Like we mentioned in our why House of Dragon will be better than Game of Thrones video, they're just building on a foundation that's already been established. So they don't have to like work to find good cinematography. They already have a team that knows how to get it done. So
And and honestly, like I don't even think it's the cinematography that's gonna be taken up a notch. Like you sent me, and I stopped watching it, but like when they're talking about their sets, like those things are like insane.
yeah, they
It is
built the
insane.
throne. They
Yeah,
built everything, man.
yeah. There's this one where they have like statues, like huge statues stacked up like next to each other. It's just like, whoa,
They
dude.
actually
For a
hatched a
TV
real
show,
dragon for the
yeah,
show.
exactly.
Yeah.
They genetically modified it. They everything, man. Out of frogs, it's insane.
So a little
Uh,
more. I want to throw out another one that's a little more on the a little more out there.
technical.
Something that's I think a
Oh,
little
okay.
more like in the books that I don't know if we'll see in the show. Because kind of like with the Song of Ice and Fire, there's a lot of like prophecy and deep magic that we don't really see play out in the show too much. But
You
I
better not
know.
throw a spoiler.
Oh, this isn't a spoiler, but just something that I've heard referenced in A Song of Ice and Fire is something about the Targaryens getting their dragons through sorcery. Like that they were never meant to have dragons, but that they played with like sorcery and dark magic, and that's how come they got them. Like they were messing with something that shouldn't have been messed with. So I'm wondering if we're gonna, because we've seen in the trailer where they're hatching an egg. So I'm kind of curious: are we gonna get to see kind of how did how do they have these dragons, and is it really like a good thing, or is it part of the reason that they become corrupt? Kind of like how that whole saying that every time a Targaryen's born, they flip a coin to see how this one's gonna turn out. So I don't know. I hope they get into the dragon lore because it's interesting to me. So,
So, I don't know how much different it can be because we saw dragons getting raised in Game of Thrones for 7 seasons, 8 seasons,
mhm.
and like it just like she took care of them. And I don't know, like they only bonded to her because she was a Targaryen. Uh, like I mean, because like Tyrion, like they liked Tyrion and he's not a Targaryen. I know some people think that in the books, but uh
We're gonna see different dragons though. I feel like she was just spitballing it, man. These things hatched, and she was like, I gotta raise these things. But with them, I
yeah, but
feel
like
it's
it's
gonna
not
be
like she
more
did any
established.
magic.
That's
It's not like
true.
she did any magic to get them to like her.
Yeah.
I think like they do talk about like that, like though you take like basically like really hot baths with the dragons. I think I remember that
You have
vaguely
to like keep them hot.
with the
I
egg.
think.
I can't remember, But yeah, because I think that's how she hatches them, because she puts them in the fire with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we're getting spoilers. David might watch this, so I don't want to say too much. But yeah, um, no,
Okay. Well,
I mean, I got another one.
go for it.
This is my last one. So I think episode 1 ends with Rhaenyra being chosen as the successor. I think that's how episode 1's gonna end, and in like a big twist, she's gonna choose me to be her king.
Oh my gosh. Are you for real that you really think she's gonna get chosen at the end?
Yeah, I am for
Okay.
real. I think she's gonna get chosen to be queen at the end. I think that's gonna be the last, like, her little ceremony of being. I don't know what you call it, like a coronation. It's not a coronation because she's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously she becomes queen. How does she become? I have so many questions. Like, I love. Okay, I'm going. I love multiple timeline stuff because it's like you get answers that would be considered spoilers. Like, think of Name of the Wind, and then you see where you start, and like the whole thing is okay. How do we get here?
Yeah.
Like, that is one of my favorite forms of storytelling, where you know the answers. Like, okay, well, she's going to become queen, obviously. How does it happen? Like, obviously, we know that all these dragons start dying out. What's up with that? Like, how do we get there?
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for that. But I know, I do think she's going to end up being chosen by the end of the first episode.
I can see that. Yeah.
Like, I think that shot where you see her like standing in like the costume that you really like,
That's a
I think
sick
that's like the
costume.
last shot of episode 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got for now. Uh, I think this episode is going to be well received, man. I like it. I'll throw that out there
I
again.
hope
Like, I
it does.
think
I want it
its
to be.
Rotten Tomato score is going to be above a 90. I just don't see HBO doing this wrong. I don't think they would have done this if they didn't think they had something that was really special.
Yeah. Well, uh,
Well,
thank you guys for joining us. Those are our predictions. Sadly, David couldn't be with us this week, but hopefully next week we'll have him up and running and he will be able to give his predictions himself, which will be a lot of fun. But yeah, so every week we will be covering our predictions for the upcoming episode, and stay tuned for our post episode show where we're going to be reviewing the episode and doing an in depth discussion on what we liked or didn't like about it. So we're a few more days away.
yes,
Cool.
sir.
Well,
This week, dude.
yeah. All right. See you guys.
Laters.